Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to do my A to Z book challenge, and when I mean we're going to try and get as many ticked off as possible. I'll insert a picture on the screen of what I mean. So basically, in my reading journal at the start of the year, I made an A to Z book challenge of all the books that I wanted to read, every letter of the alphabet. I haven't been doing very well so far. I think maybe I have 2 or 3, or not even that, I might only have 1, I don't know. But I thought this could be a good idea for the next 3 months of the year that we've got left, because I am filming this like end of September, beginning of October. I thought we could just go through and tick off as many possible books that we can from this wheel. So we are going to be reading 3 of them in today's video. So I'll show, obviously I know what they are, but I will show you on screen what the first one is that we're going to read, and then we'll just go from there. So as you can see, the first book that I pulled was Cruel Acts by Jane Casey. So this one, I don't know, I've read a Jane Casey before, I feel like I have, but I don't know which one I've read. But I'm just going to read the blurb here, so then you kind of have a gist, and I have a gist of what it's about, and then we'll just start reading and see where we get to it. So it is about Leo Stone, who a year ago was convicted of murdering 2 women and sentenced to life in prison. Now he's been freed on a technicality and he's protesting his innocence. DS Maeve Kerrigan and DI Josh Derwin are determined to put Stone back behind bars where he belongs, but the more Maeve digs, the less convinced she is that he did it. Then another woman disappears in a similar circumstance. Is there a copycat killer, or have they been wrong about Stone from the start? So this one sounds like a very fun one. I feel like it'll just be like, I don't know, I'm just going to be like, did he do it? Did he not do it? So I'm excited to see sort of how all that pans out. It's quite a short book. It's about, oh no it's not, 358 pages, which isn't too bad. But yeah, I'm just going to go start reading, and then I'll let you know when I've got an update. So I thought I'll give my first update for Cruel Acts. I'm on chapter 16, which is page 117, so I'm quite far through. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's very fast paced and it's definitely keeping me interested. There's a lot to consider within the story and a lot of like possible different directions it could go, so I'm excited to see how that goes. I've just written a few notes so then I remember sort of what to tell you what it's about. So basically, detectives on this case are DS Maeve Kerrigan and DI Josh Derwin. So they have been put on a case for this guy called Leo Stone. He was arrested and he's done time in prison for murdering some people, 2 people we think. So he's been like sort of doing prison time for that. But now he's been released early because they feel like there's not enough sufficient evidence to keep him in prison, and they think that it might not be him that has committed these crimes. So basically Maeve Kerrigan and Josh Derwin are on the case to get him put back in prison, basically. So they're following the case of these 2 women, obviously, who were murdered by Leo Stone. And they're going back through all the evidence and things that were taken at the beginning, going back to their families, finding out stuff. But they've also got this 3rd suspect that basically she has never been found, so they don't actually know if she's dead, but something points in the direction that she's connected to these other 2 girls as well. So they haven't found a body, but they don't actually know where she is. She's still missing, so they're just assuming that she's dead at this point. And that's basically the gist of sort of what's going on. It's very like, yeah, it's very fast paced. Like I said, I'm excited to keep up with the story and see sort of what happens and how it goes, because I'm sort of thinking like, is he innocent or is he not innocent? How are they going to prove that? Why was he put away in the first place if he's innocent? Like, there's so many different questions that need answering. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying the aspect of her going back through and finding out what happened to the girls and sort of piecing everything together. I really like that in a crime. like detective crime thriller book. I like it when they piece things together. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. So I don't know how many pages are in this book. Let's have a look. There is 358, so I'm about 230 off finishing, which actually isn't too bad. I feel like I'm just getting through it quite quickly. When I'm sat reading it, I'm taking it all in very, very quickly, and I'm excited to pick it back up, so that's always a good sign. But yeah, I thought I would just come on and give a quick update as to what the book's about, and then I'll probably update you in like another 100 pages or so when more has happened in the story and we've got more context behind what's going on. But yeah, so far so good. I'm enjoying it. So I thought I would just come on and give another update about Cruel Axe. So I'm on chapter 27, which is page 219, so I think I'm a fair few pages ahead of like last time I updated. I'm really enjoying it. I am really enjoying it. It's very fast paced and I'm really struggling to put it down at this point. I don't have too much left, maybe like 130 pages or so. A couple of things. Now obviously the investigation has gone forward and progressed. We are getting a couple of different points of view, which I'm really enjoying. I think that's a good sort of addition to the story because it kind of breaks up different things, so I'm enjoying that point. Maeve at the moment, Maeve Kerrigan, has sort of gone off in a different direction. Obviously with the case progressing, something has happened which has made her and Josh Derwent kind of like not have a fallout, but they're kind of a bit weird with each other at the moment, and I don't know, I'm getting suspicious feelings from him. I'm not vibing with him as a character at the moment. Like there's just something about him, I don't know. But yeah, we have met more characters, so we know more in depth now about Kelly Lambert, who is Leo Stone's son. We've met Leo Stone more in depth, so we know more about him, and we're learning more about like the past cases with the women he was supposed to have murdered, and we're learning more about like the fact that he could be innocent or he could not be innocent. I still don't personally know at this point what I think, because honestly it could go either way. I'm kind of at the point where, well no, I've kind of gone past the point now where I just suspect everyone and now I'm at the point where I might have a couple of like different ideas on who's sort of doing what around the place. But yeah, the investigation is progressing, so that is good. One thing that I do want to do, obviously this is not the first book in the series, I think this might be like the 7th or 8th book in the series, so I definitely want to go back and read obviously the first few books, just because I feel like I'll get more of Maeve's character, because we're getting a lot of her character coming through now that she's kind of focusing on a certain part of the case by herself. But I've not read the other books, so I don't know about her past life. I don't know if Josh Derwent is like, I'm sure it said in the book that they live together as roommates, but I don't know like where that came about, how they know each other. So I definitely want to find out more about her background because I do really like her as a character. But yeah, I'm very intrigued. It's got to a really interesting part at the moment. I was like, I'm gonna have to come update you now because otherwise I just won't end up updating you. But yeah, it's got to a very interesting part, so I'm very excited to see how that pans out and what goes on and sort of like who could be involved. I think it's gonna start probably at least in the next 50 pages. I think it'll start wrapping it up with everything that happened, and then obviously we'll get the ending. But yeah, I thought I would just come on and give another update. Obviously the next one that I do will be when I finish the book, but so far so good. I'm really enjoying it, so that's always a good sign. So I have now finished Cruel Axe. I rated it a 4. I did really enjoy it. The bits I enjoyed the most was following along with Maeve's journey and her and Derwent's journey, like their friendship together. They had like quite a lot of good banter. They could have a fallout but then come back together. Like it was a nice friendship, and I feel like if I'm gonna, probably will start the series from the beginning, but if I read any more after this one, then I'll be excited to see like how their friendship progresses, and definitely with how the end of the book went with sort of Maeve's future, something to do with Maeve's future. I'm excited to see progress as well. I feel like in thriller books or crime books, definitely detective books anyways, there's always some sort of like breakup drama with the main person. They're either going through like they're in a really bad relationship, or you know, they've got family issues because they're working all the time, or they're going through a really bad divorce, like yeah, things like that. So that's why I'm excited to see more about her life before this book, and then obviously carrying on after this book as well. I feel like the last maybe 40 or 50 pages of this book weren't the best, and I think that's why it's took it down to a 4 stars for me. Basically the twist at the end was a good twist, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if we'd have been given certain bits of information earlier on in the book, it would have not come as such of a shock. And I know twists are meant to be shocking obviously, but I just feel like it would have been nice to kind of like have that inkling of something going around. And then I kind of got confused with the whole thing at the end with like sort of who had been involved with what, and it felt like a bit sort of like not messy, but I was just very confused. So I think that's what's brought it down. And the other thing that brought it down for me personally, I personally don't like this in crime books or thriller books, is fighting scenes. I feel like when it's like a fight between either the perpetrator and like the detective or whatever, like I don't know, something about it doesn't sit right with me. I feel like if you're gonna put a fight scene in thriller books, it needs to be really quick and snappy, but that's just my personal opinion. I personally just don't like it. I don't know if anyone else does, they might do. But yeah, other than that, a very fast-paced book. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed the storyline, I enjoyed the case as a whole. Like I said, just the ending was a bit like too confusing for me, with like the fighting and the whole like figuring out how everything came together. But other than that, it was a very good book, and I definitely will read more by her. I think I probably will just start from the beginning and then go on, because if this is only book 8, then there's not much to read before that. But yeah, a good start so far. So the next one, I already know which one we're doing, so I'll just pop a wheel over my face and let it spin, and then I'll tell you about what we're reading next. So the next one that we will be reading is Snatched by Amanda Sue Heller. This has been on my TBR for quite a while. I think I actually got this one off my mum, and I've got another one by Amanda Sue Heller, which is Witness as well. I don't really know what these books are about. I thought they were kind of true ones, like, do you know the Kathy Glass ones, I think it is? I thought they were similar to that, but it turns out it's not. It's actually a fiction one. I'm just reading, like going through the first bits, but yeah, I'll read out what it is about, and then obviously that's just the gist of what we're gonna get, because I have no idea. So on the back it says, her schoolgirl daughter disappears, her little boy nearly dies in a fire, single mother Sue Day thinks things can't get worse. But Sue's troubles are only just beginning as neighbours, social services and police turn the spotlight on Sue and her ex-husband. Someone is making sure that her luck stays bad, and they won't stop until someone dies. Ooh, that actually sounds really good. It looks like the chapters are quite long, which is probably going to stress me out. Let's see how long the first chapter is. Right, the prologue, that's only 1 page, that's fine. It's not too bad. I think some of them are quite long and then some of them aren't, but that definitely sounds intriguing, so I'm excited to get started. It's not much pages, 400, oh, 408. Wow, I wasn't expecting it to be that long. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go start reading this. I might start it today or I might not. I might wait till tomorrow. But yeah, either way, when I start it, obviously I'll give an update whenever I've got one. So I thought I would give my first update for Snatched. I started reading this yesterday and I'm now 134 pages in, so I think I did a very good job yesterday. I'm on chapter 7. The chapters are very long in this, but I'm actually not minding. I'm pleasantly surprised by how much I have enjoyed this so far. So basically we've got a few different main characters and a few different points of view. So we've got Sue and Terry, who are the mum and dad of Nikki and Connor. Basically they are divorced or going through a divorce. Terry is with like a 17-year-old girl, which is a whole other story, but he's with a 17-year-old girl called Leanne, and Sue is still single, but she goes out with her friend Julie, every Friday, every weekend basically. And because she goes out every weekend, Terry doesn't see his kids. I'm not sure why yet, obviously that's not been discussed, but he doesn't see his kids well, as much as what he should, at least. So basically Sue has gone out for a night out on a Friday like she usually does, but usually Nikki, who is 15 years old, looks after her little brother who's 6 years old. So it's all a bit wrong anyway, because no 15-year-old should be left at home overnight or like whatever looking after her 6-year-old brother. It's just like, yeah, that's just not right in the way things anyway. But basically Nikki hasn't turned up after school. She's just not turned up at all, and Sue was kind of like getting worried a little bit, but then she was like her friend talked her into going out still, so she has gone out and left her 6-year-old son at home by himself. Obviously that's not gonna go right, and one thing leads to another. She's out, she leaves her phone at home, and the house sets on fire. That's not a spoiler because it is on the back that the little boy nearly dies in a fire. So there's a fire. She's not there. There's no way of getting in touch with her. No one knows where Nikki is, the 15-year-old, but it's also not her responsibility. So the little boy gets taken to hospital. They ring his dad. His dad comes and sort of like that all happens, and then we get points of view from Terry, we get points of view from Sue, who's the mom, and we're getting points of view from Jay, who is the detective police officer person. So she's obviously been going back and forth trying to find where Sue is, because Sue didn't end up coming home that night. She ended up staying out the whole entire weekend, no idea what had happened, no idea where her kids were. So she's come home to no house because it's burnt down, and no idea, well obviously she knows where one of the kids are, but no idea where the other one is. So currently we're still on the hunt for Nikki, so I'm very excited to see where that leads, sort of why she's gone missing and what's going on. The one thing I do like about the book is basically it's telling you what's happening, but it's also making you feel like it's not actually happening, because the characters in the story have no idea what's happening. They're kind of just making up their own judgment as they go along, but because it shares that judgment with you, you're like, I know what's happening, but also, do I know what's happening? Because they share it, like, is their judgment correct, and like what I've been reading is wrong. But yeah, I figured that was a lot of information to share with you all, but I'm surprised that I remembered it, to be honest. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where it's gonna go. I can't say I've got any inklings about what's going on, because obviously we are getting told sort of as we're going through, so we know what happened that started the fire and things, but like the police don't know what started the fire, so they're thinking it was Nikki. They don't know that Nikki wasn't at home, so there's this whole thing. But I'm intrigued to see when Nikki's side of the story comes into it, because obviously something in the prologue linked to a possible thing that happened with Nikki, but we're not entirely sure. But also her mum doesn't seem to care. I mean, her mum probably doesn't care anyways, because she left her 6-year-old at home alone, but she just doesn't seem to care somehow that, you know, her daughter's missing, and she's just, yeah, it just doesn't feel like she's too sympathetic at the moment. So sorry, I completely forgot what I was saying. My camera just sort of cut me off because the memory card's not big enough, so I've just had to go and delete a few like clips that I didn't need on there anymore. But I was pretty much finished with what I was saying anyway. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where the story's gonna go. I'm excited to read more today. I'm hoping to at least get to page like 250 or something. Like I said, the chapters are very long, but they don't feel like they're long, if that makes sense. Like, because I'm so into the story and into how it's progressing and what's going on, I'm not realising how long the chapters are. But yeah, very excited to get back into it, and we'll just see what happens next. So I have finished reading Snatched by Amanda Sue Heller. I was going to give another update before like my final review, but honestly things happened, but I didn't want to update and then obviously my review just be the same things that I've updated twice on, so I thought I would just wait until the end of it. But yes, I have finished one of the chapters was 66 pages long. 66 for a crime book, which I felt was crime in itself, I'm not gonna lie. But thankfully I was enjoying the book, so I didn't mind, and it had the little like indentation pages, indents that you can have, so I was able to like stop halfway through. But yeah, I think I'm gonna rate it at 4 stars. Again, with the ending, the ending just didn't fit right for me completely. I mean, I get what was supposed to happen, I think it just happened too fast. I would have liked it to happen in a more slow pace, and I would have liked to hear from certain people's points of view on the ending as well. So that's probably why it's a 4 stars. Otherwise, overall, a very good book. It was well paced throughout. I wouldn't say it was too fast paced, like from the middle onwards. I think the first half of the book was more fast paced. But yeah, I enjoyed it nonetheless, sort of seeing what was happening. I enjoyed the different points of view. I enjoyed all the different characters. I didn't like Sue's character, who's the mum. Yeah, just how can you go out and leave your child and not seem to care about the other one? They had a fundraising event for Sue and the kids and stuff, and like to raise money to help her obviously get back on her feet after a house fire and things. And yeah, that was a long chapter. That was the 66-page chapter. But yeah, I just felt throughout that chapter she just didn't even care about her kids, and she just wanted to be off with other men, and yeah, it just didn't sit right with me at all. So I'm not sure about her character. I did like Terry's character, who's the dad, but I also think that he wasn't written in the best way, like in the best light, and I don't know if that was intentional or not. But other than that, I did enjoy the book. I enjoyed seeing what happened. I kind of like had an inkling the further on we got through the book before we actually found out. I did kind of have an inkling that certain people were involved, so it didn't completely ruin it for me, but I could sort of see it coming a little bit. But yeah, I enjoyed it nonetheless. I will definitely read the other one that I've got by her, which is Witness. I'm not sure if that's in the same detective series or not, but I did enjoy it. Obviously it does not focus a lot on child neglect, but there's definitely heavy representation on child neglect in here. Not like child neglect in the fact that they're being like abused or anything, but obviously there's kidnapped and neglect. She's left a child at home alone. So obviously if any of that triggers anyone, I would recommend either looking into it more or just not reading it. But I do feel like that part of the book was handled quite well, and I definitely felt angry towards Sue for how she was behaving, and I felt sorry for Connor and that as well, like the kids. So yeah, I think it was a good book overall. The final book that we have, I'm gonna show you the little spinny thing. I'll cover my face again, show you the spinny thing, and then yeah, and then you'll find out what I'm reading. So the final book we will be reading in today's video is called Quiet River. I can't remember who it's by because I don't have the book with me. It's not a physical book. I've got it on my iPad. Thankfully the chapters are shorter in this one. I think it's got like 300 odd pages and it's got 100 something chapters, so I love that. But yeah, I have no idea what it's about. Like I said, I don't have the physical copy, so I'm not going to look into what it's about. I'm just going to sort of read it. It was one of these where I didn't have a book beginning with Q on my TBR for this challenge, so I literally just sort of went through thriller books that began with Q, and I think I just chose the first one that I saw, to be honest. I don't even know if I read what it's about, so I'm excited to see what it's about, what's going to go on in it. The title doesn't even give anything away, so yeah, I'm gonna go start reading, and then obviously I'll give you an update whenever I've got one. Okay, so I didn't update on Quiet River only because by the time that I figured out what was going on in the story or had something to actually give as an update, it was too far through the book, so I kind of just had to read it and then give my review. But anyways, I have finished the book. I've decided to rate it a 3 stars. It was on a 2 stars for quite a while, quite a length of the book, only because like I feel like the writing style was sometimes a bit clunky, and you know, sometimes it repeated, things like that. But I've decided on a 3, and that's because of like the last 50 pages or so I really enjoyed. I mean, the whole book kept me enticed all the way through because the chapters are very, very short, unlike the last book that we've had in this video. But yeah, I can't really say too much about what the book's about without giving away some of the plot, so I'll just try my best to sum it up in a nutshell. So we've got our main characters, who are Lisa and Matt, and they have a son called Evan. Basically they go to this place called Quiet River on a vacation, and it's got like a very small population of like 9,000 or something. So they go there on vacation, they really enjoy it, they have a good time, they meet some people, they go home back to Seattle, and then something happens in Seattle where it prompts them to go back to Quiet River. So because of this, they go back, they have this rental house that Matt's assistant Christine from work has helped them get, and they enjoy themselves for the most part. And then certain things start happening, like there's deaths, weird things going missing, like weird stuff happening, and they don't know what's happening, they don't know what's causing it. Nothing like this has ever happened before on Quiet River, so they're starting to think, like, is it them that's the problem? They've befriended like a few people. Evan, the little boy, has got a few little friends. They've befriended their neighbour Truby, who people say is like a witch and people don't really get on with. So that's the best that I can give you for now. There is some interesting backstories on, obviously, Truby the neighbour, on why people think she's a witch and things. Some interesting backstories on Matt and Lisa and Christine as well. So we do have like good characters in there. Yeah, I just don't know what it was with the book. Like I said, it kept me intrigued because the chapters were so short, but some of the writing was a bit like, not hard to read, but didn't feel right, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the best that I can give in a nutshell, but it did go very fast paced. It was a good book for the most part. There were good characters, it was an interesting plot, and I did enjoy the ending quite a lot because it did shock me. I didn't see any of it come in, but because it took so long to get into that sort of stuff, I couldn't really give an update earlier on. But yeah, that was quite a short review, but that's sort of all I can give because I don't really have many thoughts on the book. I don't think it's going to be a complete memorable book, but it was a book that was okay. It was definitely like felt psychologically, because it is classed as a psychological thriller. But yeah, that's the best that I can give on that one, unfortunately, which does bring us to the end of this video. We've read 3 books. So we've had, what did we read? Cruel Acts was 4 stars, Snatch was 4 stars, and then Quiet River was 3 stars. So I think we've not done too badly, and we've ticked off 3 more on my A to Z challenge, which is really good. I'm going to do the next 2 months of the year, so November and December, I'm going to do videos on my A to Z challenge as well and see if we can get some more TikTok, because then we'll have 9 TikTok altogether, which will be really nice. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time for a brand new video. Bye!